Model dictation, second paper. Start. Replying to the debate on the appropriation bill in the Lok Sabha, the Honorable, the Finance Minister said, Mr. Chairman, sir, if the House is really in a mood to hear all the explanations which I am going to give, I may say that the debate has been useful in certain parts and some constructive suggestions have been made. Therefore, I shall first deal with those things and then proceed to deal with individual points raised by honorable members. One of the points which has been raised by a number of honorable members is the emphasis that should be laid on slum clearance. On this, there can be two opinions. The government are committed to give the highest priority to slum clearance. They are making adequate provision for the same. But I must confess that the problem is of such a magnitude that it cannot be solved even during a planned period. It will require several plans completely to eradicate the slums. However, we are continuing to honor the commitment made in respect of slum clearance in the previous plan. I do recognize the importance of slum clearance and adequate provision should be made for that. The problem should be tackled on a national level. I assure the House that this program will receive the highest priority. The second important aspect which has been dealt with by a number of honorable members is the trend in prices. I will not be straight or correct if I say that the trend is not disturbing. In fact, it is causing great anxiety to us. But honorable members would be aware that the price trend is not created by what one does in the previous week. In fact, it is the policy of very heavy deficit financing pursued in the past that has brought about that very great pressure on prices, and it still continues. Therefore, to say that the prices have gone up in the last week and that therefore I am responsible for the rise in prices in the last week is not correct. Now, I would go further and say what we want to do in this matter. We have provided a number of incentives for the purpose of increasing production in the country. In fact, as I have already said, the inflationary situation is handled in two ways. One is by restricting money supply and the other is by expanding supplies of goods and services. We have tried to increase the supply of goods and services. For that purpose, we have given a large number of incentives. It takes some time for these incentives to work and for production to increase on account of the incentives given. Honorable members have said that the various excise concessions which have been given by the government have not been reflected in the retail prices. I agree. It was my hope that the concessions in excise duty that we gave would be passed on to the consumer. I thought that as a result there would be some kind of reduction in the prices of essential commodities. Of course, there has been reduction in prices in respect of some non-essential items, but there has been no reduction in the prices of important and essential items. The concession has not been passed on to the consumer. So, I am afraid if the market does not behave, the policy of using the stick will have to be followed. I do propose, in consultation with my colleague, the Minister for Civil Supplies, to adopt a new method. I propose to see in the first instance whether the retail shops may be asked to put up notices of stocks and retail prices. This will enable the people to know the stocks possessed by the retail shops and the prices they are charging. It will enable them to compare the prices. I hope that this measure will bring about the required results. If not, we have to adopt all other measures which will have to be used for the purpose of controlling prices. I am quite sure that the market will understand that the government is not going to take things lying down. If the government takes some regulatory measures, the market will be solely responsible for it. Having dealt with the two major subjects which have been dealt with in this debate, I will refer to some of the points made by the individual member. One of the points raised here is that there is a lot of income tax arrears. We are quite aware of the problem. Actually, we are trying to increase the number of appellate assistant commissioners who will be able to cope up with the problem. A number of cases go to the appellate assistant commissioner, but what actually prevents a quick disposal is the number of stay orders that are issued by various courts. Once the stay order is issued, we are unable to proceed with the matter and the courts stay these proceedings for many years, with the result that the arrears accumulate. In any event, as I said, we shall try to improve the question by having more appellate assistant commissioners. We are looking into this question in an earnest manner. On one another point was referred to in the course of the debate. It was pointed out that a number of people who went abroad and earned foreign exchange were put to lot of harassment when they come back, and that the customs authorities were very harsh to them. One of the difficulties is that many of these people come with a very large amount of baggage, so it is found very difficult to clear them quickly. If they take the advice of the people in our embassies and missions abroad before they come, they may be able to give up a large number of things which are useless and which they need not bring here. With these words, I thank the honorable members once again and conclude. Thank you.